on in. Virus with the sub. Thank you for the prime, bro. 7 months. How you doing, my friend? Thank you, dude. Thank you for the sub. We are live. We will be live just on Twitch today. I didn't have enough time to get my YouTube settings going, and because I like to do the thumbnail and everything like that. And I figured Mr. No One here is covered on our YouTube anyway, so on the YouTube, so we'll be on just Twitch this week. I won't make a habit out of it, I promise, even though last week was the same. How you doing, Tatamo? I wish I would know sooner. I would have at least made a community post to let people know. That's usually waiting for the YouTube notification. Tatamo with the prime as well. 4 months. Thank you, dude. Thank you for the subs, you guys.
Yeah, I was going to do a community post on YouTube today, and then I saw our guest had to back out, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's a good thing I didn't.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh man.
All right, I am ready when you are.
All right, perfect. All right. So, welcome to episode 58 of the Voices of Verra Ashes of Creation live stream with myself, Nyce Gaming, No One, and of course you, the Voices of Verra. We are a couple of days away from a big AMA, a big community, I guess, just information overload we're going to get from creative director Steven Sharif this week, this Friday, the August 16th. And yeah, I'm very much so looking forward to it. Today we're just probably gonna catch up on some community posts, some Reddit posts, forum posts, etc. Get into some hot takes, some cool topics of discussion. We haven't gotten to our Reddit post in a while, so if it's something that's like 3 months old, you know why.
Yeah,
But
we've had so many good guests and so much good information coming out in the last couple of weeks. Nyce has shared some really good forum posts that I'm like, I can't wait to discuss this, and we haven't had time. We haven't had time to get to them. So some of these may be a little dated, but I think they're worth talking about.
I'm trying to get an invite pinned to Twitch chat here. I suck at using Discord on PC. I really do. How you doing, Cracks? How you doing, AV? But yeah, so for those of you guys that don't know, we do have the Voices of Verra Discord. I've been hanging out in there more than obviously the main Discord, not just because it's mine and I might seem obvious, but like Elsa and I have that Discord, and it's like it's just better. Like I love our community that we've built so far. It's just a really good time, really good talks, hot topics of discussion, debate, good stuff. So if you guys want to join that Discord, we also have a chat in that Discord where you guys kind of get a preview of the forum posts and everything like that we plan on discussing. And so that's what we're going to be pulling some stuff up from today. Reserved, welcome on in. How you doing? Arctic is a champ, yes. AOC is better one. Let's go ahead and get into one of these articles. Let's see.
AOC subreddit, or are we going to
Let's see.
I'm looking.
Voices of Verra. Where is the forum category? VOV previous. There it is. Okay. Where do we start? Okay, so I'm not gonna go to the comments because I don't remember what those were. Oh, actually, no, that is a good one. Dang, I posted that on July 10th. I kind of like that as a conversation starter. Okay. Let's start off with this. So I posted a comment, and chat here. Let me set things up so you guys can see my whole screen here. One moment. Let's see. So I kind of want to start with that conversation. You see, it was a Discord comment with me and Viral. This was taking place during the time where we were discussing Quinfall. Gronkowski, how you doing? Welcome on in. Let's start with the Throne and Liberty post. You see that one?
Which one? There was a discussion on
Throne and Liberty further proves Ashes needs factions.
Yes, yeah. This is one of the ones I wanted to see, like pretty badly.
Yes. So this is a fun one. Here, let me go make sure you guys can see. There we go. So chat, we had this. This is gonna be our first forum discussion of the day. So this is from the Ashes of Creation forums, of course, and it is from forum poster Death Wish. Death Wish forum title is Throne of Liberty further proves Ashes needs factions. And here I'll turn the music down just a wee bit. All right, so he starts off by saying, probably the most important feedback I will bring over to Ashes of Creation. If you are not a part of the mega super multi guild that controls the server, you are not allowed to play the game. Mm. Meaning you either get the benefits of being the number one guild on the server and snowball, or you become content to be farmed by the number one guild and quit the game to do something more fun. New World had this. Donor Liberty has this, and ArcH 2 will have this. These games have all failed or are going to fail. Add factions to Ashes to prevent this problem. 2 factions is great, 3 would be the best design. Small scale group v group has little to no accessibility, which means less players playing the game and spending money. Good luck. So obviously a majority of this is pretty much taking Throne and Liberty and applying it to Ashes of Creation, the current state of Throne and Liberty, and apply it to Ashes of Creation. Virus says nodes are like factions. To be honest, yeah, I can kind of see that take. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, this is interesting. This is interesting. Do you want to type this first, or would you like to?
Yeah. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I haven't read this yet. I just saw the title and I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much to say about this, and now I have even more to say. So if you're not a part of the mega super multi guild that controls the server, you are not allowed to play the game. Okay, so here's the thing, and I can't speak. I can't speak to ArcH 2, and I can't speak to the server size for Throne and Liberty. But what I will say with respect to New World is the map on Ashes is way bigger, and there's no fast travel, and there's all these things happening all the time. It's not just server time when you have war. Like you can shut off PvP in New World. So if a big bad guild is taking over an area, you just shut off PvP and you're like, ha, you guys can't do anything about it, right? You can't necessarily do that in Ashes, but one guild taking over an entire server on in Ashes only happens if the rest of the server allows it to happen and the rest of the server decides to be doormats. And so I don't see this being the same type of issue where he talks about right here, just mega super guild that controls the server. You can't control the size of the Ashes server in the same way that you could control New World due to the constraints that you have. Do you want to comment anything on that where you agree or disagree before we?
Oh no, no, that's pretty spot on.
Meaning you either get the benefits. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, got it.
Okay, so then it says, meaning you either get the benefits of being the number one guild on the server and snowball, or you become content to be farmed by the number one guild and quit the game to do something more fun. I mean, like I said, it's just it's the server size is. What did I say it was? I want to say it was 30. It's like 10 to 30 size. I can't remember the exact size of Verra, but it's like it's quite a bit larger than
like 1,200 kilometers squared. I think was the last number we got.
Yeah, when I was comparing population density of New World with fully populated server versus Ashes, I remember it was 10%. So 1/10 of the population that you would see. What you would see in New World, you will see 1/10 of on average in Ashes of Creation throughout the server, like roaming around in the world. It's just so much bigger. It's so much less dense. And New World is a pretty sparse game in general, even with a fully pop lock server. So people are just rotating to the big spots. So I don't see this becoming a thing. New World had this, Throne and Liberty has this, ArcH 2 will have this. These games have all failed or are going to fail. Add factions to Ashes to prevent this problem. 2 factions is great. 3 would be the best design. I 100% vehemently, with my whole chest, disagree with this entire statement. It like I already play faction games. I've played faction games. Nobody becomes allied to factions. Nobody like. So we could start with ESO. ESO, when it first started out, before they did one Tamriel and opened everything up, it was actually pretty cool. Where you would have Aldmeri Dominion, you had Daggerfall Covenant, and you had Ebonheart Pact. And everybody that started off, they were dedicated to their specific faction, and it was great. And then it was a good choice, but ESO incorporated faction transfers to where you could switch factions if you wanted to. Alliance transfers, sorry. And so you could change over and switch over to another faction. And so what would happen is all of a sudden you would play PvP on with one faction, and this one big guild would switch over to the other side. And after a while, when people are just switching back and forth, you would have the big super guilds that wanted to win. They would match up with other big super guilds to try and take over the map on whatever faction it was. And then you had the smaller PvP guilds that wanted to farm the bigger guilds, that they would bounce around and they would go to the other guilds as well. And so even though it was a faction-based game where there was different alliances, it still became a guild-based game because it was like, okay, where is this big guild going? Because I don't want to be on whatever alliance they're on. I want to fight them. And so even in that game, it still devolved into guild v guild based situations. And you would go a month, like if you messed up and you chose the wrong guild or chose the wrong faction, you spent a month dealing with the exact same annoying guild that you've been wanting to fight for, the last year. And so from my perspective, I don't think factions really add anything. They lose value over time. They lose that I don't know, the desire to want to be a part of the faction. It's just a means to an end to get to where you want to go. Whereas if a guild dissolves, if you fall out of favor with a guild, you can make a new one. You can join a new one, and that sort of retention is always refreshing, in my opinion. And so I don't like factions. I don't think it succeeded very well in New World. I don't think it succeeded very well in ESO. I much rather prefer guild-based dynamics.
Yeah, I agree. I get what they're saying. I really do, but this kind of ties back into that. Uh, what's the best way I can put this politely? We have that already.
Yeah.
Like so many MMOs do the tri-faction approach or the dual faction approach. I think World of Warcraft is two faction approach. I think Alliance and Horde. I forget what it is, but like we have faction based things, and what ends up happening is you're not really committed to that faction. You're
Yes.
not really the even if you're not like really big into RP or take the alliance that serious, like you don't have a reason to. We already have those kind of systems. A factionless game provides so much opportunity, and it helps kind of evolve this sand park thing where it's just a combination of a sand park and a theme park MMO.
Yes.
When you force players to be in a specific alliance, you take that out. This way you combine both. Like you are not I me personally, when I when I'm in a character creator and I have to choose my faction right then and there, or so at some point throughout the tutorial, you say, "Hey, whose side are you on?" And you choose the queen of this, or this troll king over here, or you're in the demon faction, or the people in the mountains. It's just like I'm not committed to that. I don't really know much. Why do I got to choose that right now? And I don't
Yes.
really care. It's more of a story thing. It's more of a narrative thing.
Yes.
Now, if you set me off into this player-driven world with these player-driven narratives, these story arcs, this node system, and I get to adventure myself. I could do my own thing. I chose my class. I decided to become a animal husbandress or whatever. And then some guy comes and helps me one day during a fight, and I like him and his group. They're really friendly. They help me do this new dungeon. They teach me the ropes. They get me into their node. Whatever happens, right?
Yep.
I'm going to be committed to that guild.
Yes.
I'm going to be committed to that guild. I have a reason. I chose to be committed to that guild. Whereas the other scenario is just the game telling me like, "Oh, you care about this." Like, "Oh, they're the bad guys. Attack them because their flag is a different color."
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't make for the most dynamic gameplay, doesn't make for the most dynamic storytelling. And I'm not saying tri alliance faction logic or dual alliance faction logic is bad,
No.
but what I'm trying to say is that doesn't make Ashes of Creation have to adopt what Throne of Liberty has, because you see these problems in Throne of Liberty. Am I am I saying that he's wrong and that we won't see big mega guild stuff? Because I hear this a lot with Throne of Liberty. Like, this is a huge problem. You got these huge mega guilds. Maybe they have a lot of bots in their guilds, like,
Yeah,
and it makes a hard time. But Ashes of Creation has so much in place to prevent that feeling, that drought of gameplay. You spoke on it yourself, where it's like, well, it sounds like the rest of the server shouldn't let them do that, right? Like,
yeah,
you have ways to really mess with this guild. You have ways to rebel. You have ways to like go against the grain and not stand for that. Throne of Liberty doesn't really have all that in place. It's a very guild focused game. Does that mean Ashes of Creation isn't a guild focused game? No, I'm not saying he's completely off in that matter, but it's not the only thing. And I think a game where you get to tell your story, develop your story, write your story, compared to a narrative that the writers give you, is going to be so much more compelling and better for a long term MMO, in my opinion. I think it's time
I
for
agree with
something
you.
different. I've done all the Alliance ones, you
Yeah,
know?
I to piggyback off that before we go to Voice of Verra, I'm sure your side's popping off too. Nice. I wanted
Yeah.
to provide two examples for you real quick. Number one, Nyce and I were in a guild together in New World. I know that may shock all of you guys, but we had what was like 10 to 15 of us all in the same guild.
Hmm.
And there was a
Yeah.
point in time on the server we were recently on where it had covered the entire map. And so when we were trying to do influence races as a guild, 4, 5, 6 of us, we were having a hard time getting PvP. And so I remember somebody was coming over to our server and we were all considering switching alliances. Did you ever at any point in time feel like you had loyalty to the faction that we were in? Because I didn't. I didn't give a shit at
No,
all. Like I was just like, okay,
not at all.
I was like, let's just go where the fight is. Like there was
Yeah.
no point in running the faction in New World.
Hey, what color are we going to choose?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
which faction are we going to get the best fights on? There
Yeah.
was no lore behind it at all.
What color is the map? We'll just not be that color. That's basically
Yeah.
our decision at that point in time. The second thing is going off of guild based games. I've played these before, and guys, just because big guilds form doesn't mean that they don't split apart and there's not epic drama. It happens all the freaking time. So let's use this guy's name. Let's say that there's a guild out there called Deathwish, right? And they have 4 fully maxed out guilds, 200 300 people all allied together. It's a 1,200 people to a server. They're going out picking on people, they're bullying them, and people start fighting back. And all of a sudden, once they start fighting back and there's competent real defenses and they're actually facing the consequences of their actions, you start to see people that they don't mind PvP sometimes, but they don't like that they're now in PvP all of the time. Like they don't like the direction that the guild's going, where they're getting picked on nonstop, and so they fracture off. And so all of a sudden, they break one of the guilds. They break their alliance with Deathwish. They're like, hey, we're not going to be part of Deathwish anymore. We're going to be happy-go-lucky Care Bears in this squadron over here. We have no affiliation with them. And all the drama that happens there revitalizes all of the guilds. Right, the 3 guilds that are still together now feel like they have this, wow, you guys just fucking pussed out when we needed you. You left like a bunch of like bitches essentially. And then the other guild is just basically like, we're tired of your guys' nonsense. We didn't want to do this. And so all those guild dynamics just reinforce people wanting to be in whatever guilds that they're in, or they go to another guild to where they have better connections with people. And so all that is constantly refreshing in a way that faction-based PvP does not.
Yes. And so the voices of Verra have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Let me catch up here. So AV says, I remember Steven talk about factions. I don't think he is for it. I am up to listen to ideas about it myself. We have to define factions first, as there may be misconceptions. Factions, we're factions as determined by the game. There's usually 2 or 3 factions in most MMOs. You choose a side. Just literally the normal definitions of factions, narrative based factions. You're this alliance.
Yep.
Keep things simple. Yes, there's like the difference between alliance and a faction should be obvious. The issues between factions, that one faction ends up being the most popular and ends up with the majority of player base. Yep, you can see this happening a lot. One just dominates the map, or it's just unbalanced. It's just not a good time. Fuppo says factions that are set by the developers are superficial and cause many issues and not long periods of time. more pseudo factions that are a part of the gameplay loop that can be chosen. Let's see, key word there, chosen
Yes,
by a player is best options in my opinion.
I agree.
Yes, yes, like that you're more committed to it. You chose it. Like, yes, you choose your ally from like the character menu, but when you choose a faction in game via circumstances, via your own personal story and or reasoning, it just means better. You're more committed to it. It's just a better thing. Nemesis says organic relationships formed with guilds and factions made by players are better than superficial versions made by the devs. You guys are on fire. I'm liking what I'm reading. There is kind of factions in the node system. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think your node, you will be committed to your node. Like maybe you don't rob. If someone's a member of your node, maybe you don't go for their caravans, but you can still PvP someone in your node. You owe them nothing. It's in your best interest not to conflict with somebody in your node. But yes, as far as something that you don't necessarily sign up for per se, I could see that though. I can see how it's kind of a faction, but it's kinda one. It's rough, but yeah, I get what you're saying there. That's true.
Yeah,
Uh, go
I
ahead.
got a few over here. Tim in Galwood kind of said the same thing. He says he mentions New World and then recommends Ashes have 3 factions. Isn't he defeating his own argument there? I agree with that. And then Tim said, also, just as a chime in, because we talked about WoW, he goes, WoW is 2 factions, but it has
Mm,
very heavily been focusing on removing a lot of the divide between factions and allowing them to work together far more. Cross faction and even cross server guilds are either already active or coming this next expansion. So
see,
even
they slowly went that ESO route, yeah.
yep, even World of Warcraft is apparently moving kind of a little bit away from their faction based content. So
Mm.
super interesting.
Um, let's see what else we got here. Zev says, "I think nodes and guild wars will add to that faction system in a better way." Yeah, and that's kinda like what Cracks was saying, in a sense, you will be tied to that because when it comes time for a node siege, um a node siege in specific, you may not be the best friends with those guys, but you guys have a vested common interest, right? You both don't want to see that node go down, so in a sense it's like I think someone said pseudo faction, like it's a loose faction in a sense, or I rather like the term alliance in that way, like you both have a common interest. So your node, and just as a very small tangent here, I think something Ashes of Creation is trying to do actively, like me just reading between the lines, is trying to find ways to make the player committed to that node, committed to helping that node via
Yes.
that, making sure you want to participate in a node siege. Because if you don't, well, you're going to lose that freehold you got, or you're going to lose this benefit, you're going to lose your in node housing, et cetera, et cetera. Or maybe participating in a node war, which maybe you're like, oh, I don't care about the penalty of losing this node war. Big deal. They siphon off this much XP at this specific area or whatever. Well, if you listen through the Node Wars stream, they were talking about like how they need to make the solo-minded player, if you will, or those people that may not care, like how do you make them care? They give them individual awards. Like, yes, everybody's gonna win. If you win the node war, yes, there's benefits to that. But if you can get a reward delivered to your mailbox as and else you already know how this works with ESO, like
Yeah.
rewards of the worthy or something go to your inbox, some sort of prize, you're gonna reward the
Yep.
player. So what they're trying to do is incentivize players, and that's the tricky part for the developers at Intrepid. How do you incentivize these players to be vested into their node, to understand that the best course of action is to support their node and work together and treat it like a faction, if you will.
Yeah, those
Uh,
are all great points. Nice. Penumbral over here says even if you don't have a freehold or only have an apartment, they'll lose banked mats if the node falls. And so yeah,
mm,
there's so many different ways, and this is part of the reason why I get so excited about this game, guys. Is they're doing things in a way to attempt to incentivize you to participate in the systems. They're not
yeah.
telling you you have to join a node, but they're going to say, hey, if you join a node, you get this. And so they're incentivizing it in a way to where it'd be like, well, I'd be stupid to not join a node, right? I'd be stupid to not do this. And so because of that, they're then attaching value to where if you lose it, it hurts. And so I think it's really cool to see like all these different things that they're doing for different players, and then attempting to tie it all together and going exactly off what you're talking about. Nice. I mean, rewards of the worthy towards the end were so bad. I was just deleting mail. Like it was just
Yeah.
annoying. Like it's annoying to have to go through and delete mail because I know I'm not going to get anything of value. I know I'm not going to get anything useful. And so making sure that you're actually giving something that players want and can use for their everyday gaming progression is really important. And so it'll be interesting to see exactly how they go about accomplishing it. You know, they mentioned gold or glint, dropping glint on participating in node wars and everything. And so having that dynamic and making sure you have the thumb on the pulse for how much glint you should be awarding in these situations, I think is going to be really important for assigning that value.
Indeed. The enemy of your enemy is your friend. Want to join the evil node? Yeah. Forgot to read this earlier. Wimra says in early WoW, the factions felt like they mattered. As a horde, I hated Alliance. Same with Star Wars: The Old Republic. Sith versus Jedi was the game. Yeah, and that's the thing. When games get away, like how someone in the other chat just said, WoW is slowly getting away from that. We talked about how ESO got away from that. I think eventually players will always get away from that, especially if the developers don't incentivize you to care about that divide. Um, and that's where I think player ran systems or the sandbox elements of Ashes of Creation really come into play to make things make you care. Just make you
Yeah.
care. Dresh says it's going to be fun to see a mass of personal caravans leaving before siege kicks off. People trying to move their goods out are going to be easy pickings. Ah, true. That's funny. Did they say, after a node declared, like I thought I read that somewhere. It could be old information, or maybe someone was just suggesting it, but, like, once a siege is declared, like, you can't pull nothing out the bank or you can't
I'm
do
pretty
certain
sure.
things, like,
Yeah.
that would be hilarious. That would
Yeah.
be hilarious. I feel like that's a thing, but I'm not 100. I just know I heard that somewhere.
Either we're believing the same misinformation, Nice, or we heard the same thing. I'm pretty sure that's a
Okay.
real thing. So either it's either that or we're both like gullible idiots that believe the same thing, and I refuse to believe that that's the case. So I'm gonna go with it's real.
Makashi, how you doing? Protos Locals, thank you for the follow. MMO Sky, thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. And JB Johnson says, "You are right. Housing gets locked at least." Okay, yeah, I imagine they're gonna have some safeguards in there to prevent, like, because you want to keep people invested in that node to
Yeah.
defend it.
Yep, I agree.
But that's a good discussion. I just don't like the tone of some of these forum posts or suggestions. Now, here's the thing, chat. We all have something different we're expecting from Ashes of Creation. We all have something that we're wanting, or that's our biggest focus, or something that we would want to change, maybe. There's a lot of different opinions, and maybe some of opinions, whether you want to keep the bias or not, comes from previous titles that you played. And something I personally dislike is like stuff like this, like Throne and Liberty proves Ashes need factions, like definitive takes like that. Like there are two different games with two different systems with two, like, so many different, like Ashes has so many different countermeasures to prevent something like that. Will it be a big guild or Zergy or big game like that? Like maybe, but there's certain, it's not that simple black and white. It's not
Yeah.
copy paste, like, oh, this works here, or this is a problem in this game, so Ashes will fail. I mean, there's people that literally think Ashes of Creation will fail just because it has PvP in an MMO.
Yep.
The comment section on my videos last week, I can't tell you, like, if you guys ever get bored, look through the comment section on my 64 classes video. It could be a whole stream. I might do that. I might do a solo stream some point next month where we just go through the comments on that video, so you guys can have to read what I've read. And to be fair, most of them are great comments, of course, right?
Yes.
But there is some. It's just like, oh, and by the way, I'm currently mid count, but last I checked, I had definitely over 20. Definitely over 20. I'm nowhere near done of the cliche, oh, 2042, 2035 release, 2054. Like, just that same joke. Oh man, so many of them. So I gotta remember to
I mean,
compile that later.
there's a lot of original comedians out there. It's just great. Yeah. So piggybacking off what you were talking about with big guilds and a little bit earlier, I know a person that did a video just last week talking about big guilds and how Ashes is attempting to minimize
Mhm.
Zerg PvP, because oftentimes like we
Mhm.
play games and I'm going to tie it all together, but like we all come from different games, and I think that's the coolest part about Ashes is we have a lot of World Warcraft people who none of us really respect, but we listen to their opinion because they've been around for a while. So we have them, we have I'm joking, guys. We have Final Fantasy people, we have BDO, Guild Wars, Guild Wars 2, New World, all these different players coming together, and we all like these separate games for different reasons. And so we're going to attach on to our favorite part of those games and hope that Ashes does that in the best possible way. I will say myself, I don't want Ashes really to be anything like the last couple of MMOs I played. I don't want a
Mhm.
bastardized version of an MMO that I'm not currently playing anymore. I want it to be its own thing. But I will say that there are some things that even not very good games pulled off well. And oftentimes when you look at like big guilds specifically, in my opinion, I think oftentimes it's developers either overlooking, like either they don't care and they don't care and they're like, we're gonna have big guild PvP, this is what the game's gonna be, which is fine, or they just didn't really think about designing the game in a way to allow big guilds but not make them dominate and make them the only thing that exists in the game. And when you look at what Ashes is doing, they're attempting to solve, they're like, if you want to run in a big guild, that's fine, but they also want to provide options to where you don't have to run in a big guild. They're trying to make it in a way to where players that work in groups of even like 8-man, 10-man, 12, like smaller groups can still succeed in this game because they're designing game modes that facilitate that to happen. And that is happening in a way that I haven't seen in a lot of other games that I personally follow.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, so I I I want guilds to be a big deal in Ashes of Creation.
Yeah,
Do I see them potentially being you know what? No, I'll just end it there. I want to see guilds be important in Ashes of Creation.
absolutely.
I just hope we are truly given the tools to combat large guilds. And from what it looks like in writing to me, we got the right vision. We're heading the right direction. So we'll see how it all plays out. Um yeah. But I wanted to get to so Nemesis in chat said Game of Thrones, the MMO guys, plus with city states to side with or fight them. So it's funny, I read that comment in chat and I went ahead and pulled up the next forum post we're going to discuss.
Okay.
It's in the Voices of Air previews. It's called Long Live Drama in AOC. And I remember there were some Game of Thrones references in this one in chat out here. I'll make sure that you guys can see it as well. Long Live Drama in AOC by my bro Viajaro. Viajaro.
Excellent.
All right. So this is on the AOC forums. It says, and this is a decently long one. All right. Drama, the spice that other MMORPG development studios are afraid to use, but which AOC will spice up a delicious and succulent dish. Many developers slash writers are afraid to use drama to give development, maturity, and growth to the MMORPG they are developing because that drama can get out of control of an entire community. So those developers slash writers give their MMORPGs development, growth, maturity in a calmer way with much less drama or almost no drama at all to ensure they please all their players. When was the last time you, the players, were really immersed and attentive to the growth, maturity, and story development of your favorite MMORPG or that of your favorite characters? When was the last time you really felt that you were in a MMORPG story where anything could happen to anyone, regardless of the relevance of that character in that MMORPG? I love it. I, I
This is a
like I like that little part right
this is a
there.
great post.
Like you can be a badass, you can be the mayor of the server. If I catch you open world and we got a problem, you can be PK'd. You can be PK'd. When was the last time you saw a very important and beloved character die in order to give growth development to other characters or story of that MMORPG? Mm. When was the last time you did not play a MMORPG where everyone could be a winner and the good person would always triumph because of the power of friendship and love? When was the last time you played an MMORPG where you developed your characters in a mature way with positive events, but also with many negative events? When did you, as a MMORPG players, really get lost and let the development studios treat you like a child by giving you all the easy and mediocre happy candy to make you feel good about a story where your favorite characters will always have a 100% guarantee of success and where everything will be happiness, joy, but no drama at all? When did you really feel the drama in a MMORPG story? Everyone is a winner, a philosophy and way to develop a MMORPG because you are not good enough to develop, control, and generate drama that makes players be aware of the events of that MMORPG, either with positive events that attract the attention of a part of the players and with the negative events that attract the attention of another part of the players. The drama that a MMORPG can generate will help the healthy growth of its sociability. I'm not even gonna finish that sentence yet. I gotta stop right there. The drama that a MMORPG can generate will help the healthy growth of its sociability. Wow, what a freaking sentence. I'm not even finished the sentence I'm complimenting. The drama that MMORPG can generate will help the healthy growth of its sociability because that is what a society is about. Something is easy. Nobody has a character development when most things are given away. The drama is what will push players to want to move forward in the story that have them involved in suspense, concentration, and waiting. This kind of ties back to the earlier conversation where you need to be involved in the story and that a alliance selection may not really allow for that. Does anyone remember the prime Game of Thrones? That kind of drama is what AOC should aim for. Having the AOC community pending what will happen because no one knows what will happen, having them fearing that their favorite character might die, to have them anxious to know more. That's the drama AOC should be aiming for.
100%.
Gr- Great words, man. Just good words. And I love this
Good
quote
words.
right here. I did just good old English right there. I love it. I love that line right there, especially. Now, when he's talking about characters dying, I'm not assuming he's talking about like your playable characters, like a hardcore, but maybe the story narrative characters. What if there is a popular character? Like, think of the most popular character from an MMO you play, like Else. I don't know why, but for some reason, why I just start thinking about ESO for us. Like that one Khajiit. I guess he's not memorable because I can't remember his name.
It starts with an R.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah.
Fuck. I'm gonna Google it. I'm sorry, I have to. This is
Please
gonna bug
do,
me for
because
the rest of the
as soon
day.
as you say it, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah. I forgot his name.
It's
I
bugging
got
the
it.
shit on me.
What is his name?
Raj.
What is that name? Um, famous ESO Khajiit. What is his name? It's not popping up immediately.
Razumdar. Oh my god.
Rondar,
Oh my
yes.
god. Thank you, Rain.
No.
Thank you so much, Rain. It was just bugging me. I knew it started with an R and I just couldn't remember it. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Say his name again.
Razumdar.
Roslandar. Okay. Yeah, I just agree with you on the R. I could not I didn't know anywhere else to go with it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, chat. But anyways,
So,
now imagine those memorable characters, right? Like
yeah.
everybody in the MMO, yeah, see, Skinny Brew said Ragnarok, Wim says Grom Helm Scream and WoW. He said, who was the guy with pit on his head in ESO? Oh, pot on his head in ESO?
Cadwell.
Oh, Cadwell. Cadwell. See, I remember that one. I remember that one. Caldwell or Cadwell, one of them.
Cadwell.
And like everyone has a certain character. I mean, single player games, it's easier to develop a bond with certain NPCs, right? Because you know, a lot of dialogue and more immersive storytelling with single player games, or it's
Yep.
easy, I should say, easier. With MMOs, you get that to a certain extent. And everybody has certain characters. And the thing is, what if Ashes of Creation tries to do that? Ashes of Creation needs to find its mascot, those famous characters, right? That make you involved with the character and care about the character, tell a good story. This is a
Mhm.
it's a somewhat of a sandbox, but it's also gonna have that narrative, and you need to care about these characters. Now, I pose to you from this forum post here. What if Intrepid is brave and they can allow for certain story arcs, and if the community votes a certain way or does a certain quest, like most of the community does this certain quest a certain way, what if your favorite character can literally just die or go missing for a while? Like
Sure.
literally just be missing for a whole season, a month, or until that story arc cycles back around. Like, how cool would that be? And you gotta sit here and know that that character is actually still alive on another server because most of the players on that server made or voted in this way, but your character that you grew attached to, he's just straight up dead. How you doing, Arrow?
Yeah. No, and I agree with you. I think the story arc story, we don't know enough yet because frankly they're keeping it hidden from us right now. So all the things that could happen with it, it's just like my mind races. But even when you expand further and you go into the game, like this game is going to have so much drama, guys. Like I already have. Nice already knows this because him and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. But I have a script for a video that I want to do discussing drama in Ashes of Creation, and there was a specific amount of drama that happened a couple weeks ago that like basically we're past that point, so I'm not going to bring it up. So the next time drama happens, just know that this video is going to drop. Uh, that's all I'll say on it. But regardless, like the amount of drama this game is going to cultivate and nurture and cause just chaos is going to be so freaking good, guys. Like it's this is what I'm most excited about. Like you have people like there are guys of you, and you guys can raise your hand in chat if you agree with this. There are going to be some people that they want to be a part of a guild day one, and they want to race their node to be the max level node, which means that they are going
Mhm.
to be on high alert for their node. Like when you get in there, land rush style system, you're going to go to your node area, you're going to work towards leveling it up. You're going to have to scout people in your area. You're going to be like, okay, what other big guilds are around us? Who can potentially vassal us? Who can potentially make us their bitch? And we don't want that. So
Mhm.
we're going to have to war
Yeah.
with them. We're going to have to fight them. And you're going to be leveling up your node, and world events are going to happen. Dragons are going to drop. They're going to attack your town. If you don't win, like you could be going to bed and you're going to be like, man, I really hope a dragon didn't just loot, like sack half our freaking city and take away all of our grain silos. That would really suck, right?
Mhm.
You sign on the next day wondering, hey, what the hell happened in our node? And so all these things are going to happen. And you're going to have people that are going to use politics. They're going to use politics to attempt to advance their own standing, which means that they're going to lie. They're going to make stuff up. They're going to lie. They're going to try and slander other
Yes.
guilds. And all this drama is just going to cultivate in this game, and there are actual consequences for your actions. And like I keep using this saying, but Ashes is essentially attempting to give us all as much freedom as possible in this game so that we can hang ourselves in game and we can ruin our reputation, or we could ruin our alliance friendships. We could ruin all these things that happen because they're giving us the choices that allow it to happen. In other
Mm.
in other theme park style games, like there are already rails. Like I can't go into a specific area in ESO and destroy the city. I would want to, it'd be fun, but I can't do that. The guardrails are up. I can't go in there and just start killing people mercilessly because the guardrails are up. There aren't as many guardrails in this game, and because of that, there's just going to be more drama. And so you're going to have more attachment to your node, you're going to have more attachment to your guild, you have more attachment to just the people around you, and wanting to work to make sure the stuff that you're working towards doesn't get destroyed by either the environment or other players.
Mm. You know, that reminds me, and somebody in chat said something that reminded me, or put this thought in my head, I should say. Well, first off, Wim said reminds you of Eve Online. Yeah, we talk about Eve Online a lot. Like I think this is finally gonna be the MMO that gets us those cool stories. Node should have a historian building that keeps local lore of all the history of each node. Yes. And here's the comment I was getting to. New Tastic says, imagine a divine metro node that's loved by many gets taken down, wiped out entirely by a bad guy, military node via treachery. Now the game feels different for so many players. I love it. Now, remember that conversation we just had about essentially about losing that favorite NPC? Now I want you guys to think about that nostalgic MMO place. everyone has a certain there's a huge world in this MMO, right? And it could be in a starter zone, but there's a place that you just always go to, you just always hang out there.
Yes.
Chat, I'm gonna type it in this chat so you guys don't think I'm making it up. Hold on, let me see if this works. Here, I'm gonna type it over here. 1 second. Cause I'm gonna ask him something and I know what he's gonna say. What was the name of that place? I'm gonna just call it
Can you say that part again? Because I need to know what I'm trying to guess here. Because I'm gonna write it down on my side too.
so everyone has a place in the MMO
Yep.
that it's like a nostalgic place that you always go to.
Sure.
I just put mine in my chat, and that's the evidence. Now, I want you to answer this because you would know. You'd be able to back this up. And when we were playing New World together, back when we didn't know better, we were playing New World. Not that I'm playing, but what place did we always hang out? Like, what was the name? I expect you to know the name of the city, maybe. But what was the one place like you log in, you always find me there, either dueling or just checking the market or whatever.
I'm typing it down right now, and then I will also name it. You want to give it the nickname that we used to call it?
Actually, hold on. I'll type that in chat. Yes, what's the nickname? You can give it the nickname.
So where we used to hang out was the southeastern city in Brimstone Sands for New World, and it was like we would go duel out in the desert. And in ESO, one of the main dueling parts in ESO is actually the desert, which is Alakir Desert. And so when we would log into New World, we would say, "Hey, where are you at?" And we'd be like, "We're in Alakir." And we would just say Alakir because it's like that was the duel spot, so that's where we go test stuff. So
yeah, it's funny because that I actually can't remember the name of the desert. I butchered it in my chat. I called it WikiU Desert. I think it was something with a W. I don't know, but that's where we always were. And someone said Eastern Commons and EverQuest.
okay,
Like everyone has like a favorite zone, or maybe in Ashes of Creation it'll be a whole biome for you, right? Maybe you choose to a Valoon that always hangs out in the desert biome and like fully commit to the role play. But everyone has a certain space in a certain game where that's just your spot. Now, you're going to be really attached to your node. So like it's almost an apples to apples comparison. Not really though. Now that I'm thinking about it. But so that was my spot in New World, right? Else like
yeah, yep,
now imagine if I was playing a game with stakes, like an actual good MMORPG where that city that I always hung out with, that town where I always checked the traders there and I did all my daily crafting or whatever. Imagine if that spot could have been taken away from me, bro.
yeah.
Like, imagine if that place could have been sieged and I log in one day after I took 2-3 days off, didn't have time to get on the game. I log back in
5 kids,
and the
20
whole place is
dogs.
gone. Yeah, taking care of the 5 kids and 20 dogs, correct. Like, what if you log in? Like, think about that Eastern Commons and EverQuest for you. Like, think about that spot in New World for me. Like, you just log in and it's gone. The NPCs that were there, your little crafting bench that you used to always go to because it was the closest near the shrine, and blah blah blah, just gone. Just gone.
Well, and to piggyback off that, Nyce, like you go to bed, right? You hop on the next day, and some guy in your note, like you went to bed happy, like, man, I got a lot done, I got a lot accomplished in game, everything's going great with the wife. You get done with work, you come back, and you've been away from the game for like 14 hours or whatever. While you were gone, like some people decided to declare war on your node, and now they're just ransacking everything. So you log into a fucking war zone and you were like, man, I was going to go pick flowers. I was going to go do my dailies. And now I'm jumping in and I'm getting like just murked by everybody. There's like 20 people in my city right now. This is BS. Right. And so like those things are going to happen. People are going to log on and just be like, what the fuck, man? Like what is going on right now? And you're going to feel some kind of way about that. Like you might be a little angry. You might be a little annoyed that your everyday player loop is being interrupted by another guild. And some of you are going to want revenge. And so all that is just going to build an attachment in a way that other games don't have. And I 100% agree. Like it's fun. It's so funny to me. There are so many people, like anytime you discuss drama on YouTube, people will be like, "Oh man, I hate drama. I hate drama." And they go around to every single video commenting about how much they hate drama. And it's like, "Bro, you're not fooling anybody. Like you like drama as much as the rest of us. You're just trying to pretend that you don't." Like some drama's good. Some drama's good for games. It's good for movies. It's good for TV shows. It just makes things better in a way. And yeah, I think Ash is going to hit it in a way that other MMORPGs currently are not.
Yeah, man. Um, did somebody said, "Did you say you have 5 kids?" Yep, I got 5 kids, 7 dogs, 2 wives,
Let's not talk
and
about the cats,
thus
man.
oh man,
Too
only
many
3
cats.
cats. And
Oh,
so
okay.
I just don't have time to game, man. You know how it is.
Yep.
2 steps out of your house and dead is gonna ruin it for some for sure. Dude, could you imagine someone getting bullied on their freehold? So, I'm pretty sure anybody can walk up on your freehold, and your only safe zone is literally crossing the threshold of the actual residents of the freehold, if I remember correctly. Like, I think some people are gonna, like, legit get intimidated. Like, I could
Yeah.
picture someone, like, being held against their will, just boxed into their freehold, like, "Come on outside, we ain't gonna jump you." Like just just getting harassed outside their house and have to maybe like go on Discord as somebody for help to come clear them out or something like that. Paying protection money. You know, maybe I'll start a protection racket on AOC. We talk about that a lot just for
Yeah.
caravans, but what if we start doing house calls, you know?
Yeah.
Like like
Pay your
it's like Girl
taxes.
Scouts, but like we like murder you. I think it's a good business model.
I think there will be discords that will provide updated news for the day that will start. It'll be like, hey, this node Discord. And then you can join in. And that way you're not joining into, a hellscape. It'll be like, hey, by the way, we're at war. So when you log in, you might want to protect yourself a little bit so you're prepared for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all that's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, like even playing Albion online, I see people typing in zone chat like gankers near blah 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 or like 5 people over here attacking people in the red zone. Like they'll call it out in zone chat. Most
Yep.
people try to give other people a heads up. Hell, I even saw that in New World. Like, oh, when people were doing dailies and just people are just waiting there because you have to flag to do the PvP dailies, and there was the PvEers who didn't want to have the PvP, but they needed it for a certain weapon, and so you'll get called out. Like people get called out, like hey, be careful, there's people ganking over there. Dress says that would be griefing as far as the freehold situation. I wonder, man. Like I wonder. I think if you're like hanging outside their house and you kill them multiple times as they step out, then yeah, that does like I think you're doing too much. I think that's a little mean, honestly. But I wonder if someone would, like, go about doing that. In my opinion, that sounds like a little bit too much, but but yeah, that was me being hyperbolic. Node message boards would be nice if used well. Oh, true. Yeah, yeah, the message boards, the town boards. Hmm.
Oh, yep. Yep.
I
Yep. Yep.
wonder dude, I wonder how much it's gonna, and I guess we can kinda we don't even have to bring up the AMA, I guess, but there is, because we got a couple more cool forum posts that, to get to. Well, I think actually one more good one. Well, I did have a viewer, send us one that they wanted me to talk to.
Sure.
Maybe we can save that one for the next stream because I want to give that one the attention, maybe start off with that one. Um Let's do you know what? I got a good one to close it out with. It's the very last one, and then we'll save this viewer one for the next show. The one I wanna go to, it's
Oh,
under official VOV previews,
sorry.
and it's
Real quick, nice. It's my bad.
yeah.
Somebody said this, and I said I would mention it after the last one we had, and then
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I forgot. And they said, let me scroll back and okay, I have a question. Oh, guild, not the guild. Okay, we'll talk about that later, guys. We're not gonna. Where the hell is it? What are your top 3 reasons for loving MMORPGs? I thought this would be good to knock out real quick.
Mm.
So what are the reasons that keep you coming back to MMORPGs?
A social and shared world. I think that's the number one thing. So, it's crazy. I don't wanna go on a tangent on the first thing I list, but It's the social and shared world and logging in and other people being around, interacting with other players.
Yep.
I love Elden Ring. I love Elden Ring. I love Elden Ring PvP. I love Elden Ring PvE. I love everything about that game. What keeps me not maining it, like, all day and it being my main game is because I get lonely, bro. Like, I don't know how
Yeah.
else to say it, I get lonely. It's why
Yep.
I don't play single player games.
Yep.
I
Same.
don't play single player games anymore. Like, I log in, and if I wanna play with my friends, I gotta, like, like, "Oh, who's online? Can no friends online? Anybody want to duel?" Or, "Hey,
Mhm.
let's go gank people." Like, that's not, or we could probably do arenas, but it's not a shared world, and you don't get that from any other genre but a MMO, really. So, that's number 1 for me. Just playing with friends. Yeah, JB. Next thing I would say, hmm I guess it kinda split that one into 2, shared world and social, but, let's keep that as 1. The next 2 would be Imma say PvP.
Sure.
I love MMO PvP. I love MMO PvP. You can log on a Raven, thank you for the follow. You can log on a Call of Duty shooter, and you run around this instance map and just point and click and shoot the guy, and then, "Oh, I got more kills than you, I win," and then, then you just go about your day. You never see that guy again or whatever. That could happen, but with MMO PvP, it could breed that drama that we were talking about. It's, uh it's more interactive. I don't know, it's just something different about open world PvP or large scale PvP,
Yes.
outnumbered PvP. Like I know we both like outnumbered PvP, just winning against the odds. Like it's just something about that. I really love it. The third thing I would say, hmm, I just thought about it as I was saying the other thing. Uh, Come back to me. It left me. I was thinking about it and I completely lost it.
Sure. Well, if you get it, blurt it out. So
Oh,
it's,
I
it's
got it. I got it.
okay. Great.
Here's me
Perfect.
blurting.
Perfect.
Character customization.
Yes.
And you can kind of summarize this as RP, but I love customizing a character and entering that shared world. I love making and this is why people might judge me. I'm a transmog slash cosmetics whore. Like I love
He really
customizing a
is.
character.
Yeah.
Like dude, if my character looks cool, there's nothing I can't accomplish. I'm not pulling off a 1v2 if my character doesn't look cool. I'm sorry. Like it's just something about customizing a character, and it don't even got to be cosmetics. It could be the name, or it could be the story that you role play and assign to that character. But choosing the armor, what dye, and just being this cool looking person out in the world. And I know that sparks a bigger conversation. Like, okay, let's try to have
Sure.
some gear be earnable, or you know, and that's a very fair point. But I like being able to customize my gear, especially if it's something that I can earn and obtain. And it's just cosmetics is the true end game for me. Like it really is. If I look cool, I feel cool. If I look good, I do good. And yeah, drip is the real end game, like Noobtastic said. It's just something about it. It's just different. It's just different in the MMO, and just looking at what other players are wearing. But yeah, customization from visuals, and then I'll lump build customization in there as well, because that's it for me. Like visual customization, but build customization. Theory crafting. We both built our channels off of that, but I love
Yes.
build theory crafting and customization, especially when you're doing something that not no one else thought of, or no one's doing the way you're doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. I agree with all that. Some of mine's gonna overlap because obviously we have similar channels and similar like mindedness on this. But what
yeah, yeah.
I will say, I have always been a gamer that enjoys PvP more than PvE based games. I play chess on the side. I'll play games like Risk, even games like Among Us. Like I love strategy PvP based games. I used to play a lot of first person shooters. Me and a handful of my friends would rotate to whatever shooter was the most popular at the time. And once we
Mm,
got bored with the maps, we'd go on to the next shooter. And so I played a lot of shooters. And the thing is what pulled me into MMORPG PvP over like other more popular PvP genres is the, like you said before, it's the customization. Like you cannot beat the customization in a good PvP MMORPG, because not only is it your own personal skill, it's using your brain. Like when you're playing chess or when you're playing Risk, you're using your own strategies in order to accomplish things. There's no dexterity, there's no being in the moment
Yeah.
really involved. It's that. MMORPGs combine both. It's your theory crafting and making a build, making something to accomplish what you're trying to do. And because you have those sorts of customizations, you can accomplish more in an MMORPG than you can in a shooter, right? And so that's what I've always experienced. And so that entire like me against the world or my group against the world, you're just constantly like, okay, how can we do this better? How can we do this better from this point of view? And then how can we get better mechanically? And you just add on, you add on the best of both those worlds. And that's what MMORPG PvP is to me. And so when it's done well, there's nothing like it. And it's the same way, like I'm Elden Ring in the same way. Like I really like Elden Ring PvP. I love the Elden Ring combat. I have a handful of people in my Discord that I duel with when I hop on the game, and I really enjoy it. But it's not the same type of community feel as an MMORPG. No. So I get into it, I like it, I enjoy it, but I don't love it in the same way. And so it pulls me away. But I would say the PvP, and then I would say overall like working towards a goal. So building your character, I do enjoy that aspect too, where you're slow, like you're getting better mechanically on your character, but you're also advancing through different trades. You're figuring out different like good systems, and like overall, it's just good competitive systems, and whatever you want to do also keeps me involved in the game. Because I've often compared like an MMORPG to like going to Vegas. Like when you go to Vegas, there's something for everybody, and a well done MMORPG with systems. You know, maybe there's not something for everybody, but there's so many different systems that exist. Like one day you're just like, yeah, I'm going to go slaughter as many people as I want in Windsward. And then the next day you're just like, dude, I want to chop down 10,000 trees. I just want to zone out, listen to music. And I want to level up this because my guild wants to make a boat. Like we want to make a boat. We want to go in the high seas. This is what we're going to work towards. And so being part of that is really valuable to me as well. And so I think that's only 2, but that's so much that I'll just leave it at the 2.
Nice. Just yeah, man, that customization and just shared world for me is just really good. Dresh here says his is number 1, the guild family, 2, the unpredictable world,
Yeah.
/ player choice, 3, pride and good gameplay benefiting everyone. Yes. Let's do this. All right. So, I have this article here.
All right.
Let's see. Oh wait, Noobtastic said character customization in every way and how the character interacts / participates in a social shared community. Yes, real. So we have this article. It's titled. Here, bring it up. And this will be, I think, a good one to close on.
I think so too. You know, I can already kind of see
and
it.
It's titled. Oh wait, here, chat. Let me make sure you guys can see it. There we go. All right. So this is on Reddit, the place where all good things happen and everyone respects each other's opinion and we just all get along. So this is on Ashes of Creation official Reddit from poster Salty Swedish Meatball. Oh well, that's just a fun name.
That's a great name.
It's titled Expectations Zerg's Too High, Influencer Sabotaging Game. Holy, we are in for some takes. I love it. All right. I read the last 2. You got this one.
Okay. Sounds good. Discussion. A few things I see talked about a lot in the various Discords I'm in and also on social media. People's expectations, thanks to influencers, is shooting through the roof. Influencers like Pirate openly saying he's talking to devs with his concerns over guild sizes being 300. 10K servers, not revolutionary for total active players until you get a queue. I was on a Discord channel today recruiting people. Someone said there won't be single servers per region, but rather several at least. And then that was argued. The founder of the Discord agreed there will be one per region. The other person left the Discord channel. That person was mocked after they left, so people aren't getting the message that the misinformation is wrong. Expectations are off.
Oof.
That's disappointing. You guys, if you guys have questions like this, like what happens here, and you get mocked out of a Discord, I highly recommend. I know this Discord where we don't mock each other, we just have discussions, and there's a lot of very knowledgeable people there that can clear the air. It's actually mine and Nyce's Discord. I'm just gonna break it to you guys. So feel free to join that if you guys actually like. Nyce and I will never claim to know everything because we don't, but there are so many smart people there that can pull up stuff. It's a great resource that we have going on, and I can't speak highly enough of the people that are already in there. So that's the only compliment you guys are going to get. Tomorrow we're at war. So anyways, people like Pirate Software bring up EVE Online.
Hey, 1 second.
Yeah.
Anonymous just gifted 2 subs. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
That guy anonymous dude, you are too kind. You're just always kind to me. You mean a lot. I really appreciate the support. You've been here since the beginning. You just I'm gonna find out who you are. I'm gonna no, I'm playing. Thank you so much.
All right. People like Pirate Software bring up EVE Online. 300 guild to him is very small. At minimum, he says 500. The more guilds a giant group has, the more risk there is of guilds breaking off among other reasons, but it only really hurts the giant guilds, not 99% of other guilds, yet the firm push that it really must be more is there. If you don't think these influencers can strong arm devs, you have another thing coming, especially if he's in contact with them. Okay. Overall, I'm seeing influencers, not ordinary people, starting to set up expectations that may be technologically impossible while still being profitable. I think there needs to be strong emphasis that this game is not EVE Online. It will never be EVE Online, even if certain aspects are borrowed from it, and with this game, shouldn't be dictated by influencers because once they get bored and leave, what are you left with? Wow, he's got all sorts of stuff in here. Nice. The focus must be on ordinary players, ordinary guilds, while players need to understand there are limitations and good reasons why 300 is guild cap. And 10K, from what I've heard, consecutive players is capped before the queue starts. Rant over. Don't let influencers fuck this game up, please, because they 100% will if you let them. Thoughts, Nyce. Where do you want to start?
Man, all right, let's circle back to the first as far as the guy telling someone in whatever Discord that, hey,
Yes.
it's not one mega server. It sucks being the right person sometimes. They probably just got so frustrated. Like, I'm trying to help y'all and you guys are idiots, but whatever, bye. You guys are beyond help.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks that happened. What we got to understand as a community, especially those of you that are in the stream right now, people that are following Ashes of Creation content right now, following the development progress right now, watching the monthly live streams, the core Ashes of Creation community. We got to understand once Alpha 2, not launch, once Alpha 2 is here, and this game gets a little bit more mainstream, a little bit more popular in the MMO space, there is going to be so much misinformation out there.
Yes.
There is going to be so many reviews of Alpha 2 from big content creators that came out of nowhere, never did a video on Ashes of Creation. They happen to get a key gifted from one of their subs or whatever the case may be. They're going to come out of nowhere. They're going to get some things wrong, or they're going to influence their community in a certain way. I remember back in, I want to say that was 2022 at this point, where a certain content creator was like, oh, you won't like this game, and here's how it works, and you're going to get bullied all day, and this and that. And like, there's just a lot of misinformation that's going to occur all over again because our baby, Ashes of Creation, is going to be in the hands of others, and you're going to see some things. And one thing I try to tell, or I try to do around the community, and especially for content creators, is do not insult these people that get things wrong.
Yes.
Don't mock them. Don't laugh at them or something like that, or get overly aggressive or whatever. Just try to correct these people and try to limit the misinformation and stop it. Present them with facts. Link them an article in the wiki, whatever the case may be, because it's gonna happen a lot. So just be ready, and I think that's something a lot of us should be ready for. Now, as far as this part right here, he says, influencers can strong arm devs. He says, if you don't think these influencers can strong arm devs, you have another thing coming, especially if he's in contact with them. So he's
Um,
referring to pirate software here. Uh,
one second, real quick,
yeah.
Nice. I just wanted a quick piggyback off that. Uh,
Mhm.
I think Nice and I'm just speaking for you here because I feel like I can, but I think Nice and our community is a perfect example of what you give is what you get back. And so how we can answer questions instead of calling people idiots and saying that they're wrong and trying to be smarter than everybody. I mean, this game is big. It's very extensive. And so all of us get stuff wrong. All of us get stuff wrong all the time. And so having that information is valuable. A great thing that you can go to is the Ashes of Creation Wikipedia. And so anytime these questions come up, Lex does a great job updating everything with sources and everything. And so this person could have just posted this right here. You could go to the Ashes of Creation wiki, you look up server population, it says right here, around 8 to 10K concurrent users per realm is projected. And he's got multiple sources linked to different timestamps in different live streams where Steven or other people from Intrepid have brought it up. That's all you need to do. You just be like, hey, here's the wiki that's literally being sourced, that they're updating for Ashes of Creation. You can come here and check it out. And so there's also answers in the Discord. There was one brought up in July on this specific question, was right after the live stream. They're like, hey, are you still projecting 8 to 10K players? And Steven responded and he said, yes, that's still planned. And so all this could have been cleared up rather quickly. So just through these two avenues. So go on, Nice. Sorry.
Oh no, no, that makes sense. Just try to link people and point them in the right direction. Wiz, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Um, so he goes on to say, and I accidentally minimized the article here. So he goes on here to say, if you don't think these influencers can strong arm devs, you have another thing coming, especially because he's in contact with them. Let's break this down and look at past events. Yes, influencers have influence. Holy crap, who's seen that coming? That's what they do. They're influencers. So yes, I think that is true to a certain extent. I think it'd be ignorant to think that a Osmongold or the pirate softwares of the world won't have their communities or their takes won't have an impact on some things,
100%.
or maybe even some narratives. They can start a narrative to form. Yes, indeed. But what we have seen thus far, and what we have been led to believe, and while we're on this journey, is that the creative director Stephen Sharif isn't budging in his vision for nobody. He's not budging in his vision from nobody, no matter who you are. Now, does that mean he won't take feedback? Just like Intrepid's willing to take feedback from any of us, any feedback that you leave. There's a balance there, right? Now, if Pirate Software wants guilds to be 12,000, do you think Steven's gonna make the guilds from? He's like, oh, okay, we'll change it from 300 to 12,000. It's not gonna happen.
No.
We don't need to worry about that. We don't need to make this post asking the developers to and saying don't let influence f this game up because they 100% will if you let them. I don't think that's going to be the case. Will Steven listen to this feedback and monitor the narrative? Sure. And maybe he buckles and say, okay, I see that take, that makes sense, let's increase the cap to 500.
Yep.
And that's what you call a compromise, or just seeing the other side. you know but to think that just because Pirate Software, let's say he has Steven's cell number and texting him right now, or Asmongold or whoever, to think that these people are game designers is not the case.
Yep.
It's just not the case, and I don't think we have to worry about that. And I think this is why some of us, or at least it's not the reason, but it's like the cherry on top when you start looking to Ashes of Creation and what inspired Steven or what motivated Steven to make this game is he played a lot of MMOs. And what happens with our normal MMOs, like especially if the designer or the creator is like NCSoft or something, somebody answering to a board of directors, right? Where profit is on their mind and just do this. Like, you need that. We have a creative director that has his vision. He's making his game. He put his money into this game. So I don't think the notion that influencers can F up this game is too much of a threat here. Is
I
it a
agree.
possibility? It's a thing that can happen. It has happened, I imagine. with Ashes of Creation, I don't expect that. Will some small things change? Like this guild size tip, in my opinion, is a small thing. If the number goes from 300 to 500, I won't you won't see me making a video like, "OMG, Ashes of Creation pivoted from its core pillars. Game's over. Pirate software ruined everything." Insert
Yeah.
shock face thumbnail. It's not happening, people. We will be fine. We'll be fine. Will small things like that change from 300 to 500? Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
But I don't think you gotta worry about this game being ruined because it has a set vision, and it's had that vision for years.
I agree. I like to, in these situations, I try to put myself in somebody else's shoes. So I put myself in Steven's shoes, right? And I go through all the things that have happened. They put out a Kickstarter years ago, right? And they set records for the amount of people that were excited about the frame of their game. And for years now, they've been doing live streams showcasing their vision. And they've gotten to a
Mhm.
point to where you have people that bought into Alpha 1, you have Braver Worlds, people that bought in on the initial Kickstarter, you have people that are buying in Alpha 2. You have all these people. And I can't remember the number, but I think it was last year at some point. Steven said that they believe when the game goes live that they already have 1 million concurrent players up and running, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
And so they already have, like, if they already have 1 million players day one, it's like, okay, well, how do we keep these players? How do we keep these players around? And so when they already have this, when they already have over 100,000 players ready to go into Alpha 2's doors, when they already have all these players going in, it creates less influence that an influencer can actually have. It's like, hey, we already have people that like the direction of our game. We already have people that like the idea that we're going. Why would we change something and abandon the people that have already bought in? They've already signed up. They're already ready to go with what our vision is. And somebody else says that they disagree. Like if it's constructive and it adds on and it iterates and it makes it better, absolutely. Like Pirate Software is a very smart person. Like he's very smart. He probably has some good ideas to iterate and make things better. He will have some influence just like the rest of us with good ideas do. And so to say otherwise would be silly, but at the same time, like we saw this happen a couple of years ago with Lucky Ghost advocating for PvE servers. And he's a big channel. He's an
Yeah.
influencer with a big channel. And what did Steven say? We're going to keep the game the way it is. We appreciate the
Yeah.
input, but we're going to stick with what we have because we literally have hundreds of thousands of people excited about this game already. And so I completely agree. Like everything that they've shown so far is they're not going to change the design unless the vast majority of people providing feedback say that it's bad design, and then they'll
Yes.
change it.
And just to kind of give us like and just to be clear here, especially if this person watches the stream later, I do want to say we agree with what he's saying. Like, don't let influencers mess up the game. Influencers can mess up a game. That is true. What we're saying is
100%.
we don't see that as a concern here.
Yes.
We don't see that happening just because Pirate Software said he's talked with Steven, you know.
Yeah. And it's
So
happened in the
I think
past
that
in other
yeah,
games.
and it has
So it's
happened in the past, and that's what I was gonna get to here. Because here at the end he says this game shouldn't be dictated by influencers because once they get bored and leave, what are you left with? Um, Somewhat of a fair take here in the sense that these people and I expect this to happen with Alpha too. I think some of us are in it for the long haul. There's gonna be times where we just run out of stuff to do. Well, some of y'all will. I'm gonna find me something to do. But not like most people that are casually passing by on this game, you know, to stop by, oh, I'm playing Alpha 2. They're gonna play it for like depending on how much content, we don't know how many biomes and stuff is available at the launch, we don't know how many
none.
quests, whatever it's gonna people
Yep, none.
busy. Doesn't exist. Um but let's say it's an alpha test, like a real alpha. So the retention ends up being like somewhere from 2 to 4 weeks, 1 month, if you will. Now, when the Asmon Golds or the whoever finds something else to main, because I mean, maybe you shouldn't main a test, but when the popular streamers move on to the next game, or they backtrack to Throne and Liberty, whatever happens, whatever's happening, New World releases in October, maybe that's all the rave.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe maybe you know, we are all that's left. And yes, you shouldn't be listening to the opinions of people that's just passing by because you know it's that core player base that you need to focus on getting feedback from. But yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that with Intrepid Studios. I think they know what they're gonna do, and that was a perfect reference there because we went through this already. We went
Yeah.
through the Care Bears wanting PvE servers and saying, "Oh, this needs to be better. The corruption system is flawed. It will never work, and blah blah blah. And yeah, so I think Steven has already. I'm sure it's been other times he's put his foot down, but that's the best reference there to kind of prove to you guys that we got someone that's gonna stand on, stand
Stand on
tall.
business. Yeah. Like I don't
Mhm.
you can look at their past history, and I think we've seen it to where I think I think at some point when you have enough people, one person with obviously people like obviously when Pirate Software comes in, like he said, he already has 15,000 people on his Discord ready to go for Ashes of Creation. That's a big chunk of people, right? Like
Yeah,
that
man.
is a lot of people. But guess what? That's 10% of people that are signed up for Alpha 2, roughly. Right? Like when you look at it, it's like, okay, cool. But I mean, that's just Alpha 2. That's not the betas, which were like those keys were cheaper, and it's not day one of when the game goes live. And so when you look at these things, it's like, okay, it's a lot, he's got a lot less influence than you would actually think that he does in a a Kickstarter style game like this. And then
Yeah.
also, I mean, these guys, I think I'm going to go on a small rant here, Nyce, and I'm sorry, but I know you're going to agree with me, and I'm literally just doing this for you because you may not say these things, but New World is the poster child for why you should not change the direction of your game, and it just recently happened. It's sitting out there. We can pull up the Steam charts of how many people are
Oof.
playing New World right now if we wanted to. Not going to. We're not going to embarrass them any further. But the point is when you look at New World started off like people have said in our Discord. It started off as a survival style, like almost Rust style MMORPG, and then they changed it. A lot of people provided feedback, and they're like, "Hey, we'd play your game. We'd play your game if you had a toggle system." And they changed it, and they're just like, "You know what? We're going to get rid of what the core value of our game is," and they basically gutted what it was, and then
Yep.
they gutted it again. And it's just one of those things where it's like they don't have a core following. They don't have, like, when you look at other popular games like Baldur's Gate and Elden Ring, these games have hardcore followers that are just diehards for the
Yeah.
game. ESO has the exact same thing, a very vocal diehard community. I don't think New World has one because they keep catering to different types of player bases. I don't know who they're trying to support, and I don't think the players know who they're trying to support. And so they could go any direction and just stick with it, and they don't. And I think that's the biggest issue that they currently have. And so
Mhm.
when you see that happening for the last 3 years, if you were making a game right now and you have this albatross of a game that's just putting up warning signs and all the things of what not to do, that would just reinforce, like, okay, we may fail, but we're not going to fail like that because we already know that fails. So like we've already seen what's
Yes.
going on with it, and that doesn't mean that New World can't write their course and be better in the future, but currently it's just in a bad spot. And so if I'm the Intrepid devs, I would look at them and I'd go, yeah, we're not going to be like them. We're going to fail in another way. If we're going to fail, we're not doing
Yeah.
that.
Go down, doing it your way, saying, "Hey, we tried, our vision didn't work out." But if you don't have a vision, man, like New World don't know, they still don't know what they want to be. Do you know New World? I posted it in my Discord. Well, I think we talked about this before, but they have archetypes now, or what they're
Yes.
trying to spin as
Oh my
archetypes.
god.
Let me, I gotta find this image. It is that it's so deceitful and just it annoys me, dog. They posted it on their Twitter, so it's not under NDA. Here, I'm actually gonna pull this image up for you guys to see. Oh man, here, let me link this to you. I'll put it in VOV's. No, here, I'll just put it in our DM.
Rain says if there's no vision for a game, no one plays it instead of half the people. Exactly. If there's no vision and there's nothing for people to tie themselves to, people aren't going to play your game. And it doesn't matter what it is, guys. Like you can make a very PvE centric game with no PvP. Helldivers does that. Helldivers has come out and like, we're not going to support PvPers. They still have 25,000 concurrent players in Helldivers right now. I just checked it earlier today. New World has 3,000, right? And it's an MMORPG. It's designed like it there's just varying things for this. And that's the point I'm trying to get across.
Dude, so I sent it to you. Here's the
I
tweet. Here's the
see
image.
it. Oh my god, I'm
Dude,
so mad.
so they don't know what they want to be. You guys remember, thank you for the follow. You guys remember how, well, first, it's in a horrible state, 3K average player base over the last 30 days. But you remember their horrible marketing campaign for New World Eternum, their attempt at a rebrand, which they botched, calling it action RPG. People were asking me like, "Oh, is it a single player game now?" They don't know what they want to be. They're changing their whole terminology, gaming category, whatever. Now they're trying to do what like Ashes of Creation and some other MMOs, to be fair, did with archetypes. You guys know New World only has two weapons, right? Like you choose two weapons, like you
Yep.
could do sword and shield, and then hammer on the other bar, whatever. Like now, the look at this most popular archetype, sword bearer. So basically, depending on the two weapons you equip, you get an archetype name now. So this sword bearer is probably great sword, sword and shield. Ranger is probably bow, rapier.
Yep.
Occultist is probably void gauntlet, fire staff. And so they're trying to use these new names like to make you think that they added new stuff or it's a new game or look, here's role play elements now. You're not just walking around choosing two weapons. You're a class now. You can call yourself a ranger. You're not just a guy with a bow, you're a ranger. And it's not true. It's so deceptive. And
Yeah.
why this stuff would have been figured out way before they were a survival MMO if they would have stuck to their guns and just maybe did this earlier or knew on paper this is what they wanted to do years ago, this wouldn't just now be coming out. It wouldn't be a thing. It wouldn't be a struggle. It wouldn't be someone trying to find their sense of identity years later as a freaking MMO. And it's really pathetic that they even attempted this part. But
It's
yeah.
so late in the game to like, I mean, whatever, you can rebrand it, you can do whatever you want and whatever. But yeah, when I saw they changed to like classes, it was just like, come on, man. And then they said what the classes did, and it was like, oh yeah, you could harvest faster and like all this other bullshit. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, you just look at it and it's just putting lipstick on a pig. Like, it just doesn't, it just, you have severe issues with your game and you continue just to change what the game is about to bring in a new player base. And this direction that they go, they may make a very good version of what they're going for in the future. Like this very well may change things, and people may latch themselves onto this ARPG that they're focusing towards. But a lot of current players don't currently care, and the numbers reflect that they don't care where the direction of the game is going right now. They're not building towards keeping their accounts up to date, right? and they would if they did care. And so they're gonna just basically cater to a whole new player base. And they're just like, hey, we have a bunch of players coming in from console. These players don't know of all of our failures on PC. They're gonna come into a new game, and we're gonna take their money. We're gonna take their money, and we're gonna cater to as many people as possible in this new player pool. And it's fine. It'll generate money for them, I'm sure. I mean, it's fucking Amazon Gaming Studios. Of course, it'll generate money. But yeah, I just don't see the direction. I don't see players playing long term.
What's in chat says New World had zero vision and just tries to tag buzzwords as coming features. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, swimming. It's like when they added mounts. Now they're adding swimming as
Yeah.
like this big feature. Uh, it then says, and their pig is console players. Yeah. I think they're gonna recoup as much as they can from console release, but I don't see it lasting longer. Correct. Here, 1 second. Daughter's crying.
You're good. Penumbral says New World was dead to me before it even launched. They didn't listen enough to the testers. The duplication and other BS destroyed this game. They could change it to the best game ever, and I still wouldn't care. I totally get it. They've burned a lot of people. A lot of people have been burned by it. I'm still of the belief that MMORPGs never die. Like that, I don't think they ever fully die. I think you'll always have some player base that latches onto a game if you have the like they'll find something, right? And you can always adjust the course. You can always change how things how things work. Like Final Fantasy is the perfect example of this. Like it was garbage, and then they overhauled everything, and now it's one of the better MMORPGs in the space. It's not for me, but a lot of people like Final Fantasy for that reason, right? And so when I see what New World's doing, like their solo player area, I will absolutely try it. I like solo player PvX zone. That's my jam. Like that's stuff that I really enjoy. And so even though I think New World is currently in a bad spot, I can't say that I'm not excited about that specifically myself. And so when I see these things, it's like, okay, cool. But who are you still catering for? Like you're not making like more end game trials, so like it's not a hardcore raiding game. You're not making more maps for Outpost Rush, so it's not that. You're not attempting to improve upon wars. Like wars are still the exact same game mode, and they've been that way for 3 years now. So you have this big mode where you could improve and make things better, and it's existed for 3 years. People are going to get stale with it. Like imagine playing Halo, right? The latest Halo, and you're literally playing on the same map all day, every single time. It's the exact same game
Ugh.
mode. Like you get bored. You may love the game, but eventually you're going to get bored, and they won't improve or change or iterate any of these things. They're just like, hey, we're going to do a new thing that's completely different. And so even though players that love our large scale PvP, they love our wars, they love our influence races, now you're going to do something different, and it's like it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. I, mm, I think the world is the perfect example for a lot of things. Most importantly, I guess to make sure you have a vision.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a vision. Um, there we go. So we are a little bit past the hour and a half mark. We are going to call it here. This has been episode 58 of the Voices of Vera. We could not do this without you guys, literally the Voices of Vera. This was some good talks. Appreciate you guys being in chat. Thank you for the follows, the gifted subs. You guys are awesome. Make sure you're following no one. He's in the Ashes of Creation category right now as well. You just got here. Oh, I'm sorry. He's in a category as well, so make sure you give him a follow. But yeah, Murder Bear, there were some good talks today. How you doing? Um, but yeah, 58, man. 58. It's crazy. Um, but I'm going to raid over to Annie because she's never live when we're live, so do something different. I'm gonna raid over to Annie. She's not probably talking Ashes of Creation right now, but she might be. She usually does. But she's playing The Sims. But you guys know her from Tangents of Creation, Chaos and Lace, Jamie Chaos, Annie Lace. So you guys just come show her some love and make her build ridiculous things. Actually,
Yes.
let's go bully her and force her to build something she doesn't want to. That's what we're gonna do, chat. So we'll go do that. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Peace.
I'm still here. I'm still here, guys. Sorry, I haven't. I started the raid too late because I had to find her. But I'm starting here
Oh
soon.
my gosh. Okay, I'll start it over.
but
All right.
but now I'm ready. Now I'm ready. Here we go.
Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
See you
Boom.
guys.